Very good morning to all of you.
One.
I extend the heartiest welcome to all the dignitaries, expert guests, Director of the Institute, Head of the Department of Commerce and Management, Shivaji University, Kolhapur, all the delegates of the national webinar on agricultural export startups in Western Maharashtra. For this, we have with us Dr. Parshuram Patil as an expert speaker. He is advisor, consultant, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, APEDA, Government of India. Dr. B.S. Sawant, Director of Karmavir Bhaurao Patil, Institute of Management Studies and Research, Satara. Professor Dr. S.S. Mahajan, Head, Department of Commerce and Management, Shivaji University, Kolhapur, and all the delegates. On behalf of KBPIMSR Satara, I extend the heartiest welcome to all of you to this national webinar on agricultural export startups in Western Maharashtra. Welcome you all. Now, at this juncture, before we go ahead, I request Dr. B.S. Sawant sir, Director of KBPIMSR Satara, to say a few words on this occasion. Over to you, Sawant sir.
Good morning, all of you. Today we organize this national webinar on agriculture export startups in Western Maharashtra. On this occasion, I warm welcome to today's speaker, Dr. Parshuram Patil and Professor Dr. Sri Krishna Mahajan, Department of Commerce and Management, Shivaji University, Kolhapur, and all the delegates. Today is the 18th July, and this 18th July we celebrate as the Nelson Mandela World Day. And we are aware on this day the Nelson Mandela's contribution, how to learn within the when he was in custody in the majority life, and today we are also in the four wall due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Opportunity to us to work from home, learn from home, and teach from home. So we organize this national webinar with of Professor Dr. Sri Krishna Mahajan, that is the Department of Commerce, Shivaji University, Kolhapur. And on behalf of our institute, I warm welcome all the dignitaries, Dr. Mahajan sir, and all the participants. And without taking much time, we are eagerly waiting to listen Dr. Parshuram Patil. He is the advisor, consultant, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. And we are very proud. Our Patil working in Delhi and putting the image in the Delhi platform as a Maharashtrian ambassador. So I once more welcome all, and I ask to Bola sir to proceed further. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sir, for your valuable words. Really, at this juncture, now I request Professor Dr. S. Mahajan sir share his views on this occasion.
Dr. B.S. Sawant, Director, Karmavir Bhaurao Patil Institute of Management Studies and Research, Satara. Dr. S.S. Bhola, organizer of this national webinar and Chairman of Board of Studies, Business Management, Shivaji University, Kolhapur. Today's chief guest and speaker, Dr. Parshuram Patil, other dignitaries present on online platform, and other participants. This is an immense pleasure to be with KBP Institute of Management the Department of Commerce and Management, Shivaji University, as a partner for this national webinar. And I firstly wish grand success for this national webinar, and also I would like to put few words on this occasion. As all of us know, right from ancient age, India has a great history of international trade. Even there are some evidences in excavation of the Sindhu Ghati civilization, and if we found that shows we have a legacy of such type of foreign trade, and that's why again one more thing is that India is always considered as agrarian economy, and on the contrary, there are two things. One, there is a disguised unemployment disguised employment in agriculture, and on the other hand, there is a wastage of 35% produce on post-harvest activities. And considering this matter, I think the food processing industry as well as agro-based industry that has ample opportunities in future, and that's why I think today's webinar is important in that respect. As we made studies in export, at that time it is found that the people in Western Maharashtra, especially rural areas and suburban areas, they do not know about the procedures of exports and which type of export can be made. And I think this particular lecture by Dr. Parshuram Patil will enrich people and encourage people to make the agriculture export, and the people can start such type of economic activity for the development of a region as well as employability enhancement and the employment generation in a particular area of Maharashtra as well as other areas. And there are number of natural resources as well as agriculture resources with which this type of startup is possible. And I think some examples also with the guidance of Dr. Parshuram Patil, such examples are already came into existence and they are working well. So I wish him best for all for this lecture, and also thank Dr. Pawan, Dr. Bhola, and other organizers, member of organizing committee, for giving me an opportunity to express my views on this occasion. Thank you, one and all.
Request the faculty of KBP MSR, Madam Priyanka Shilhar, to formally introduce today's expert guest speaker, Dr. Parshuram Patil. Over to Shilhar Madam.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, all. Myself, Priyanka Shilhar. It's my immense pleasure to introducing our expert resource person, Honorable Dr. Parshuram Patil. Dr. Parshuram Patil is doctorate from Shivaji University, Kolhapur, under the guidance of Professor Dr. S.S. Mahajan, and completed his postdoctoral studies from Pune University, Pune. Sir has done additional course in alternative dispute resolution and certified HR business consultant practitioner. He has having 13 years of teaching and consultancy experience and now working on various responsible positions at Agricultural Export Policy Consultant at Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. Sir is also the member and advisor of many national and international organizations. Sir has eye-catching research contribution. He has published 21 research papers in reputed journals and published 3 books. He has presented 15 papers in conferences and many seminars and webinars. Indeed, it's a moment of happiness for all of us to share time with Dr. Prashram Patil on a very important theme of today's national webinar, that is agricultural expert startups in Western Maharashtra. At this juncture, I welcome you all. Now, ladies and gentlemen, may I to the August gathering an expert, agricultural economist Dr. Prashant Patil. Thank you. Over to Dr. S.S. Bhulat.
Thank you, madam, for a very nice presentation of our today's expert guest, Dr. Parshuram Patil. Now it's a moment that we are looking forward to listen the valuable words and guidance from Dr. Parshuram Patil. Over to you, sir. Now I request Dr. Parshuram Patil to share his views on the theme.
Thank you, sir.
Please, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And good morning to all of you. My research guide, because of whom I done a lot of work in the research, my journey has been started. The person, Dr. S.S. Mahajan. I can see Dr. Marukal, sir. Dr. Sawant, sir. I can see Dr. Fagre. I can see Guru, sir. Sawant, sir. And the organizer, Dr. Bhola, sir. Good morning to all of you. Before I start, I would like to confess one thing is that sitting in front of this big giant like Mahajan sir, Bhola sir, Marukar sir, Guru sir, Fagre sir, and talking in front of them is little bit some kind of awkward because they made me. So I'm starting my thing by saying thanks to whatever they have given to me, they have nurtured me. And because of their all contribution, I'm here. My journey from Shivaji University or from my journey from small village to the Department of Commerce and to the Department of Ministry of Commerce, from Shivaji University advisor for that entire journey, these all people were there. So I would like to thank all of them first. And I would like to congratulate Bhola sir also by picking such a very important topic. That is the Indian agriculture export startups. Because agriculture is at the core now. Even you can see in the entire COVID time, only 2 industries are working, only 2 sectors are working, and day night. That is, one is agriculture and second is health. So we cannot ignore agriculture at any. There is no substitute for agriculture and agriculture industry. So I would like to congratulate and thanks to Bhola sir that he has invited me in to such a very important topic. So today we will talk about the entire agriculture exports, especially in Western Maharashtra. So before we go with the Maharashtra, let's see how and what are the things happening at the national level, how the entire national ecosystem of agriculture export, agriculture industry will see, and then we slowly move towards the what are the opportunities and what is the startup ecosystem in the Western Maharashtra. Bhola sir, can you go next slide? Hello. Sir, next slide. Okay, fine. So we will see what is the Indian agriculture export economy first. See, I will go back 1,000 years back first. We will go with the ancient time. So India was the super economic power, maybe in 1,000 years back. So we were so rich that we were the center of attraction for all the people throughout the world. So what was the base at that time? Why we were so much economically superpower? The reason was that our agriculture industry was so superior that it's like a gold mine. But slowly we shifted our agriculture economy to the industrial economy, to the science and technology, and then slowly with the invention of so many outside people, we forgot about the agriculture. And since the moment we forgot the agriculture, we slowly landed into some nowhere else. Otherwise, we were the economically superpower based on the agriculture. So now, why I'm saying this? Because I wanted to relate the past with the present. Now the government of India understand if India wants to back its glory, then agriculture is the sector, agriculture is the industry, has to be the center point. So that's why the entire policy framing in terms of agriculture, industry, trade at the center point of the government of India's policy making. So let's see what is the present status in Indian agriculture export economy. See, India is one of the largest producer on all kind of commodities. You take the rice, you take the wheat, you take any commodity. India is one of the largest producer. But if you see in terms of its export, if you see in terms of its contribution, is only 2.5%. That is negligible. And that is one of the reasons that we are not doing so great in agriculture. So when the Modi government took charge at 2014, they realized that if you want to go ahead, we have to uplift the agriculture. So they came with the concept that why we should not talk, or why should not start with the doubling the farmers' income. And doubling the farmers, if you want to doubling the farmers' income, they have to do good in the export. So the concept of doubling the agriculture export. So with that frame, they have come up with the new agriculture export policy. So you imagine, our country is an agro-based country. Our entire economy is dominated by agriculture. Our 70% people are directly involved to agriculture. Though last 70 years after independence, we were not having one single comprehensive agriculture export policy. First time in 2018, the Modi government has launched the first new agriculture export policy, and that new agriculture export policy is aiming to reshape entire agriculture export supply chain, where the farmers will have a major share in terms of welfare and in terms of income. So what they want for this agriculture export policy, they want to double the agriculture export by 2022. Right now, our agriculture export 38 billion. They want to touch the 100 billion. So by which they would like to go for the doubling the agriculture export and doubling the agriculture economy. So that creates the path, because it is talking about entire agriculture supply chain, entire, right from seeds to marketing. So at every stage in that supply chain, there is opportunity. There is opportunity for existing entrepreneurs. There is opportunity for new entrepreneurs. So like that, we will try to analyze how the things are getting much more better for the new entrepreneurs. Next slide. Now look at how, when we talk about the agriculture export, what we can export. There are major 6 categories, like floriculture and seeds, fruits and vegetables, processed fruits and vegetables, then other processed foods, livestock. These are the major 6 categories under agriculture exports happens. So whatever we agriculture export do, it is go under this 6 category. Next. Now when we talk about the agriculture export, let's see where actually India is exporting. What exporting? So where is our actual existing market? So we talk about, see, in the right hand, the left hand the column, we see there are countries like Vietnam, Iran, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and this side they are the products. So like buffalo meat, animal casting. So these are the product profile where we are exporting, and these are the countries. So it will give a amount of diversification we are having in agriculture export, an amount of diversification we are having in agriculture export destinations. So this picture shows us that what we can exporting right now. So it will create a base that apart from that, what we can also export. So these are some major export destinations that India is dealing right now. Next. Okay. So our today's lecture or topic focus is based on the agriculture. We are not talking about entire agriculture economy. We are just talking one factor, that is trade or export. So when we talk about the agriculture export, the government of India has various bodies which will deal the export promotions. For example, Cashew Export Promotion Council of India only deal with the cashew export. Even they are not dealing with the production. They are just dealing with the export. Like a Spices Board. Spices Board is also dealing with the, for example, spicing the turmeric, ginger. No, we are famous for the Sangli is famous for the turmeric. So a special board is developed by the government of India, so they can make the concentrated export for the spices export. Then tea board is having tea. Then APEDA. APEDA is such an organization which is having more than 50% share in the entire India's export. So almost more than 100 of thousands products are coming in the APEDA. Then the Indian Oilseeds and Produce Export Promotion Council. So we have Oilseed Council. So you can imagine right now we are exporting 80% edible oil. 80%, whatever we are edible oil we are having, we have 80 to 90% imported by normally from Malaysia and these South Asian countries. Where you talk about India, what we need to produce a edible oil, we need a palm oil, we need a palm cultivation, we need a groundnut, we need some, that's kind of oilseed plantation. India has such a geographical conditions where we can grow any kind of oilseed plantation. Though we are consuming or we are importing 80-90%. So you can imagine if you decided to produce that 80-90% here in India, how big market is, how big domestic market itself. You need not to go for the export. So kind of things are there. Then tobacco is there. I'm just putting some agencies name. There are so many institutions, maybe 15, 20 more than that. But I'm just putting some important industry agencies where I involve actively into it. So with this, Government of India is trying to build a mechanism by which the gap between the exporters, producers, and the importer will bridge. And Government of India is playing the role here like hand-holding or supporting. Next, sir. Okay. Now, whenever we talk about the export or starters, we always talk about the schemes, what the government is supporting, what the government is financing, what the government is subsidizing or grant. So first we will try to understand what is the special schemes available only for the export, agriculture export. And then we will go for what are the different schemes for it. See, all the agriculture export schemes is divided into three parts. One is the export infrastructure, quality development, and market development. Whenever you want to export, you need certain things. What you need? You need an infrastructure like pack house. You need an infrastructure like processing unit. You need an infrastructure like reefer van. So whenever for that all kind of component, government is giving you almost 40% subsidy. Suppose you put up any processing plant, or suppose you put up any pack house, or you put up any reefer van or any VAT treatment, the government is directly giving you 40%. So that component of the scheme, financial assistance, will cover your whatever your infrastructure required. Because when you talk about export, you have to have a very good infrastructure, which is world class and which is accepted by the world standards, so that whatever the deficiencies is there in the product, that will be removed. So next, then another than the quality development. So right now the entire world is very conscious about food, so they always knew how much pesticides involved, how much minimum residuals involved. So to test for that, you need a laboratory. So almost every processing unit having their own laboratory. So for that also, for equipment, government is also funding. And third is important market development. So most important thing in the agriculture export or any export, that having a good buyer, having a good firm buyer, so that they will not get cheap. So by this scheme, Government of India is trying to bridge the gap between the importers who are sitting outside the country and the exporters or producers. So with this scheme, they are organizing BSM, bilateral meet, revised bilateral meet, trade negotiation. Suppose somebody wants to go to visit abroad and they want to meet the buyer. Even the Government of India is funding their trip or any kind of delegation at the subsidiary rate. So these are the major schemes. Even this is a huge scope. Even export scheme is a huge topic. We need a separate lecture on it. I'm just giving a glance on. Otherwise, it will take a very long time. Then next, sir, we will talk about now is very important. So you would wonder that Indian government is very rigorously and very seriously trying to develop an ecosystem, startup ecosystem. And it is not only about the agriculture, it is about all the industry. So they have Government of India as a separate department, Startup India. I would request all of you, at least once you go the visit of Startup India website. The Government of India is coming with a very, very innovative idea. And you would wonder, there are 132 separate schemes available for startups. And the scheme is touching each and every stages of, any product, you have three stages. One is the cultivation, production, processing, and marketing. So all the stages, the Government of India has thought from even minute details, and they have come up with the various schemes. So there are 132 schemes available, which includes agriculture industry, that that will provide you whenever you need any financial assistance, even you need any kind of thing. So Government of India is always there with you to subsidize your cost in terms of grant or subsidy. Next, sir, I'm just giving the example. So there are 132 schemes. So these are the schemes. You can find it is there for each and every, like NABARD is there. See, assistant for professional bodies, multiple. They have thought thoroughly, and they try to cover each and every professional activity which is required to start up any kind of new businesses. So that with the frame of that, they have developed such schemes. Next, Even that scheme also. Even that's all the schemes list. Next. Next, it is all the list of all the schemes. So I would like to request, that's why I'm saying you go thoroughly, you just visit a Startup India site and you will see it's like an ocean. It's like oceans of financial grants and subsidies and schemes. Next. Next. List of schemes. Next. 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 Okay. Now, so once we know there are schemes available for the agriculture exports, especially, as well there are schemes available for the general startups. They may be in agriculture or maybe other industry. But whatever schemes apply for the other startups, it is apply for agriculture also, because at the end it is a business. So after seeing that, we should know what kind of infrastructure is required for the export. Suppose somebody wants to start any business, any startup, or somebody wants to start somebody wants to export directly, then what kind of export infrastructure is required? Because otherwise he will not able to sell. So what are those export infrastructure? You need a cold storage, you need a collection center, you need a reefer vans, you need a capacity building activity, you need a food testing lab, you need a pack houses, you need a center for perishable cargo, you need a vapor heat treatment, you need a irradiation units, you need a floor action center, you need a processing units. So this all infrastructure is subsidized, or this all infrastructure separate schemes are available with all the Export Promotion Council, like I mentioned in the last segment, so that if somebody wants to establish in a course, he can have a 40% subsidy. Even somebody wants to establish a pack house, because without this you cannot able to export. So that's why Government of India is coming with the new schemes, which you can have the benefits of. Next. Okay. Now, after seeing that basic steps, I would like to see where we are doing export. What are the top? Just I'm giving some list. There are more than that. I'm just taking top 10 products. So, like mango, grapes, dehydrated onion, pomegranate, gherkin, groundnut, buffalo meat, basmati rice, mom. These are the top 10 products which India is exporting. So, if somebody who is new, who would like to come into the sector, they can start with this sector, because these are the already ready-made demand. India is doing very great in this sector, and India is one of the topmost producer of all these things. So this is the existing export bracket of India. Next. And these are the destinations where India is selling, where India is exporting is more. These are the countries like UAE, Kuwait, Iran, Indonesia, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Malaysia, UK. These are the top countries where India is actively, or this is the existing export bucket destination wise for India. So, because when you want to start a business, you should also know where you can go, where you can sell this stuff. So this is the existing key. Next. Now, so these are the existing. So India is already doing great, and there are already a lot of entrepreneurs, already a lot of processing units already there. But apart from that, there are many things. There are so many things where it has a big scope for new startups, new entrepreneurs. And India is not doing great. In spite of that, it has a huge potential. Take an example of banana. India is one of the leading producer in banana. But when you talk in terms of export, India is doing nothing. It's very less. The country like Ecuador is a very small country, even not 10% of India. He is the largest exporter of banana. And if you consider the quality of banana, of Indian banana or outside banana, it's a huge difference, because India will always have that added advantage, because we come under this very special agroclimatic zone, agroclimatic conditions. So whatever produce here, it will always have a unique taste. So we can always have our own brand. So these are the products like banana, potato, fresh flour, dry flour, vegetable seeds, juices, jaggery, cereal preparations, pig meat, poultry, dairy products, moringa, millet, makhana, potato, biscuits, wine. These are the top 10 potential products where India is going to make a big thing next couple of years, because these are the things where India has a huge potential in terms of production wise, in terms of processing wise also. Now the government of India is concentrating on these products. So where are coming new entrepreneurs, new startups? Here is the opportunity. Here is the opportunity if they can go with any of this product, because they are in a demand and there is a huge gap between demand and supply, consumption and production. It's a huge gap. So the new entrepreneurs can have a look on it and they can go with any of this product. And look, say I'm talking, agriculture is not just one of the production. See, the separate product, separate commodity like banana is a separate industry. Potato is a separate industry. Moringa is a separate industry. What is in our mind? We are talking about agriculture general. No, agriculture is not a general. Every commodity has a special industry. Every commodity, constitutes its own food supply chain. Like a cashew. Cashew is a separate industry. That's why we have separate board for cashew. Like this, every product has a potential that it's become a separate industry of its own. So that's why the government of India is trying to pushing that way. So that's why I'm again telling it is a huge opportunity because of this all things. And why government of India is doing? Because government of India is doing everything to get these things channelized. The government of India is ready to do anything as far as the export and new startups are concerned in this sector. Next. Okay, now I'm just talking about these are the top 20 products, but where we are going to sell it? Where is the market? So these are the top 10 countries. Where is the potential market for these top 10 20 products, which include Argentina, Australia? But these are the countries. I'm not taking the name of all of you. These are the 20 countries where the new entrepreneurs, because government of India is thinking it is not a theoretical discussion. So whatever I'm putting in front of you, actually we are practicing at the national level. So whenever we are thinking about agriculture policy, we are trying to focus on these 20 products and these 20 countries where a lot of opportunities available, where you can easily penetrate the market, and we are also having very good, apart from China, we are also having a very good diplomatic relations with all these countries. So these are the 20 export potential countries where we can have our own export new product, 20 products. Next. Okay. So I wanted to put you how the things are happening at the national level, how the government of India is thinking, and what kind of initiatives government of India is thinking. Now, after seeing that all the national scenario, now we will coming towards the Maharashtra, and how the Maharashtra is a hub for the agriculture export, and why the Maharashtra, and what are the opportunities available, especially in Western. When we talk about the Maharashtra, Western Maharashtra itself coming to it. So before we start, we will see what is the Maharashtra's agriculture export economy. Why there are opportunities available in Maharashtra. Entire Maharashtra's economy is still predominantly agrarian. It is dependent on agriculture. No matter how much Maharashtra is industrially advanced, but still agriculture, Maharashtra's economy is totally dependent on agriculture. And whenever we talk about agriculture at national level, there is no nation's picture without Maharashtra. Maharashtra is so advanced in agriculture. Here, other states look towards Maharashtra as a sitting example. So Maharashtra is having very, very agroclimatic conditions. Second thing, important thing is that there are 8 biodiversity hubs in the entire world. Only 8 biodiversity hubs where the unique kind of agroclimatic conditions are available, where flora and fauna is very, very rich. And because of which, whatever produced there, it is have a very special demand in the international market. So out of 8 biodiversity hubs, there are 2 in India. One is in Himalaya, and second is the Western Ghat. Starting rightly from the Gujarat sea coast to Kanyakumari. And this Maharashtra is exactly sitting in between that. And especially Western Maharashtra is a core part of Western Maharashtra. So we have such a hydroclimatic condition here in Maharashtra, you can grow anything, which will have a world class. Only thing is that, are we looking this entire sector in that perspective? No. So Maharashtra, that's why I'm just putting the things that Maharashtra, what is the Maharashtra agriculture export economy? So main occupation is always we are going for food crops as well as cash crops. And these rice, jowar, bajra, wheat, pulses, turmeric, onions, cotton, sugarcane, these are some very important productions right now happening in Maharashtra. And that's why, whenever new things come in agriculture, it is either coming Maharashtra or either coming Punjab. If you see the Punjab agriculture, Punjab is mainly dominated for the wheat and rice. But if you come to the Maharashtra, you will have everything, variety of productions. So Maharashtra is always at the front stage. Whatever export we are doing right now, almost 70-80% export happening in Maharashtra only. So this is the brief overview of Maharashtra's agriculture export economy. Next. Okay. So when we talk about the Maharashtra, what Maharashtra is special having, by which there are a lot of scope for the agriculture export. What kind of specialty is Maharashtra having? See, Maharashtra is the third largest state in area and second largest state in population. So if you see the cultivation, if you see the amount of area we are having, which is available for the cultivation, is huge. Even if there is whenever we are exporting, you should be thinking about backward also, because you have to have sufficient amount of production. So since Maharashtra is having larger amount of land, it is an added advantage. Second, fishery is the second most important agriculture commodity. Maharashtra is having 720 kilometers of coastal line, and the fishery is in the center of this entire agriculture export. Government of India is opening a separate ministry for fishery. So since we are having larger coastal line, it is added advantage, because dry fish and all kind of fish, there is a great demand in the international market. And then Maharashtra is always booming economy. And then I was talking about the agroclimatic conditions. We have 9 agroclimatic conditions. You can imagine 9 agroclimatic conditions where we can grow anything, right from crops, fruits, vegetables. And then very important thing is that whenever you want to export, you should have an infrastructure. Infrastructure not only at the factory level, you should have a ports, you should have an airport. You should see, we call it JNPT, Jawaharlal Nehru Port. Total export, we count about 90% export of total India is happening from the JNPT. So even somebody who is sitting in the Kolkata, or somebody sitting is in Delhi and he wants to export, he has to come to the JNPT. So 90% exports of entire India is going from the JNPT only. 80%. So whatever I'm talking about export infrastructure, 80% of India's agriculture export infrastructure is happening in India, it in Western Maharashtra only, near about Bombay, Pune, and airport. So Maharashtra is having endless opportunity. And again, Maharashtra is in so much industrial advance. There is huge scope for innovation technology, huge scope of food processing. So these are the basic, Maharashtra is having basic added advantage, which is not having by the other states. So when we talk about the agriculture export and agriculture economy, without Maharashtra is leading state in all the fronts. Next. Okay. Then there is a scope for agriculture export startup in Maharashtra. So we see that we have a certain advantage in agriculture export, certain advantage in agriculture in Maharashtra. Now, what is the scope available in Maharashtra for agriculture startup? Why the startups will generate? Why the startup will build here? The reason is that Maharashtra has a typical monsoon climate. Maharashtra, as I was saying that it has agroclimatic condition. Maharashtra is typical, every climate, every season has a specialty of crop. You go to the Rabi, you will have a different crop. You will have if you go to the Kharif, you will have. So amount of production, amount of crop availability is there, by which you can have a long-term chain. So whenever it is a Rabi, you can also go with the Rabi crop. Whenever it is the Kharif, you can go with the Kharif crop. So such kind of climatic condition is not available everywhere. So the consistency of export, you can have a consistency of export, and you can choose anything, and you can plan season-wise. And second, Maharashtra is very much advanced in good agriculture practices. So right now I'm saying that outside world is much more conscious about the food and the pesticides and kind of thing. So Maharashtra is already doing in the good agriculture practices. Then availability of infrastructure. If infrastructure is not available, you cannot do any agriculture export. Infrastructure in terms of road, infrastructure in terms of storages, infrastructure in terms of processing house, infrastructure in terms of port. So everything is available in Maharashtra. That is not available apart from Gujarat. You will never see that things are available in anywhere in India. Then we have biggest seaport called JNPT. I said that out of total export, 90% exports is going to JNPT only. So whatever the international you want to send US, anywhere in the world, there are cargo available from JNPT every corner of the world. You can sell your product anywhere from the world. So we have a JNPT. Then the farmers are very much advanced here. They are very much advanced, and they adapt easily new technology, new packaging systems. You just have to guide them. And then, as I was saying, majority agri exports houses, multinationals are sitting in Bombay, Pune and Nashik. Bombay, Pune and Nashik. And then third is important is that grapes, mango, pomegranate, flowers, resin, these are 6-7 products where Maharashtra is leading exporter in India. We have already our own brand in international market. So whenever we talk about India, they think about the Nashik. The picture comes the Nashik or Maharashtra. So as far as brand building image is concerned, Maharashtra is everything. You talk about production, you talk about infrastructure, you talk about processing, everything. We just have to utilize these things in our startup doing export or any kind of businesses. Next. Okay. So what is the existing export bracket of Maharashtra? What Maharashtra is already exporting? Maharashtra exporting mango, grapes, onion, pomegranate, gherki. These are the products where Maharashtra is already exporting. These are the products which Maharashtra is already big exporter. So somebody wants to start up the things with these products, he also can go, or he can also go with some other products which has also potential. Next. Okay. Now, other than this product, what kind of potential products is having in Maharashtra which can be exported? So like vegetable seeds, potato, jaggery. I'm telling you jaggery, because jaggery is very close to me because I'm coming from the Kolhapur region. The reason is that jaggery is having such a potential right now, and government of India is also thinking so much of jaggery, especially jaggery powder. Why jaggery powder is having a special demand worldwide, where India is doing nothing. We are the largest producer of jaggery, one of the largest producer of jaggery. But even in terms of export, we are zero. Zero is very negligible. And you amount of potential you see in the jaggery powder. I'm not talking about jaggery. As it is, jaggery may not have been good demand. But the value-added product of jaggery, like liquid jaggery, like jaggery powder, these two products are in very much high demand. And even this new product, when you go to the big market in America and Europe, they don't take a jaggery in terms of kg. They take a jaggery in terms of 200, 250 gram, 100 gram, 50 gram. Kind of huge potential available in jaggery. And Maharashtra is the leading merchant. So along with the wine is there, cereals are there. There are so many products. Moringa. Moringa is such a crop. It's almost cultivation cost is nothing. You have to just cultivate the moringa, convert into the moringa into dry leaf, and all the processing unit they will have a contract with you, with all the farmers, and they will buy the dry leaf from your home itself. And even if you can start a business like moringa, it's a huge opportunity. That's why I'm saying every industry is a separate industry. If you talk about jaggery is a separate industry. If you talk about the moringa, millet, it's a separate industry. So these are the products. So that's why I'm saying it's an endless opportunity in the Western Maharashtra. And these all are the products abundantly available in the Western Maharashtra. All the infrastructure abundantly available in the Western Maharashtra. All the traditions available in the Western Maharashtra. You need not to go anywhere. How far Mumbai is from the Western Maharashtra? Mumbai is itself in the Western Maharashtra. If somebody wants to go to JNPT, he will go within 5-6 hours in the JNPT. So that is what is giving a lot of scope for the people in the Western Maharashtra to go in such kind of businesses. Next. Okay. Now the government of India realized that whoever the exporters are, they are not farmers. The government of India wants that grower must be an exporter. Otherwise, the real benefit of export will not go to the farmers. It will go to the middleman only. Now you can see, or you can imagine, all the exporters are the big, only 1 or 2% farmers are who are actually exporters. So government of India wants to change that monotony. And they want to do that the farmers should take part in the export. So how they are thinking? They are thinking that single farmers is not able to do export. So what they are doing now, they are understanding. Now they are identifying the district-wise product. So they are understanding that every district has something special. So they will go in with that product only. For example, as of now, these are so almost 20 export cluster has been proposed by the government of India for the export cluster. But out of that, all the export clusters, this has been proposed by the Ministry of State of Maharashtra government. But out of that, no, it has 6 has been notified by the government of India. It is the next slide. Next slide. Okay. I was talking about the proposed. Out of the proposed cluster, these are the 5 have been notified the government of India. Banana. No, Kolhapur has been identified as a banana export cluster. It means the government of India is thinking whatever the banana is produced in this Kolhapur, it has an exportable quality. Now the government of India is coming with the separate sort of mechanism in Kolhapur. For example, they will have a separate department for agriculture export. Will be headed by the cluster CEO. Cluster CEO will have his whole sort of team. And that entire team, what they will do, they will try to ensure how the farmers will be part, how the banana growers can be exported. For example, they will see the entire supply chain. They will start with the cultivation. They will guide and give the grant the farmers that what kind of variety of banana should be cultivated. Then what should be the good agriculture practices. Then they will help to setting up the processing plant, pack houses. They will help not to find a buyer. Even they will bring the buyer or importer from the outside country, and they will they will try to happen this export. So kind of things the government of India thinks. So by which the farmers will take a part in this traditional modern trade and commerce through FPOs and kind of. So government of India is thinking at this grassroots level. So we should know. I don't know how many people are knowing that banana has been Kolhapur has been notified at the agriculture export. It's a huge export opportunities in banana, especially. I mean, a lot of Kolhapur come near about the Kolhapur. Multinational companies are doing the banana export, but very less farmers are doing. So government of India wants to do this export cluster that farmers should take the part in this entire export. There are onions, their grapes are there, orange, pomegranates. There are 5, 6 already have been notified, and another 25 been sent by the Ministry of the State Government. It may be get notified in course of time. Next. Okay, now important. I was talking about the potential of Maharashtra for producing exportable crops. See the grapes. Maharashtra is a number of producing in the. See the pomegranate. Maharashtra is number 1 in the onion, then banana, then orange, then mango. See, it's about fruit and vegetables. This is one of the sector we are doing export. And fruits and vegetables, Middle East is the big market for India. You see, these are the top most fruits and vegetables which are exporting from India. If you talk about its production, in the entire India, Maharashtra is almost number 1 in all the sector. Talk about cereals, the jawar, the soybean, then turf, then gram, maize. These are also top most products we are exporting. And see the amount of production available in Maharashtra. So availability. So you talk about the export. You think of the export starters. The raw materials also available. It should be available. So this is available, existing. It is already available. So I wanted to show that raw material are available so that you can export. Next. Okay. Now, what is the potential of Maharashtra's export? See the mango. In India, Maharashtra is number 1 exporter in mango. Same with the grape, same with the banana, same with the papaya, mango plum. See, these are the topmost products exporting India abroad. And in that, as far as India is concerned, Maharashtra is already doing a great impact. So what it indicates? It indicates that this industry has already been developed in Maharashtra. It indicates that whatever infrastructure whatever inputs are required to start any kind of startup, it is there in Maharashtra. It is available in Maharashtra. Everything is available. You need not to start from a scratch. You have to take the help of these people. It will make you lot more easy for any new entrepreneurs, because we are already Maharashtra has a lot of big brand in the international market. So that is what I just wanted to put, that Maharashtra doing well. It's about food. Next. Same with the vegetables. You can see that this is the crops where we are already exporting, and if you see the Maharashtra's rank is almost first or second. So we are also a larger amount of production available with us producer, as well as we are also larger exporter. So that indicates it's a huge scope for new agriculture start. And this, if you see, this all crop is still available in Western Maharashtra. Next. So this is about cereals, maize, non-maize. So since maize came, I would explain very interesting story about maize. We call it baby corn. When I last time went to my hometown, there's one company called Nina Foods. It is there in this Gokul Shirgaon. So that owner called me to visit his factory, and I went to visit. It's such a very interesting model of contract farming and how he has started. So you wonder, a small factory is not a very big factory. It is there in Western, this Gokul Shirgaon. He is one of the largest exporter of baby corn to the European countries. And what he is doing, he has contacted almost 1,000 farmers in nearby that region, and he made the contact farming with them. What he has assured that, he told that whatever seeds you require to grow a baby corn, maize, he will give that seeds. All the entire expense of cultivation he will bear, and he will take that baby corn at his farm only. He only have to just maintain he has only have to give the cultivation. Now what he is doing, he bring that baby corn, put the 3-4 baby corn into that vinegar bottle. Every bottle of vinegar is having a value of 400 rupees. And she is one of the largest producer of baby corn, exporter of baby corn in the entire world. And he especially went to I would request to Mahajan sir and Bhola sir, we have a study tour with them, bring the student there. It's a very interesting proposition. So, Ani, there is endless opportunity in this food processing sector. I'm just giving one example of it. So kind of hundreds of examples are there. You need not to go only for the fresh. You can go, because processed food industry has a huge scope than the fresh. So small example, very less investment, but it's very big impact. And it is not earning money. It is also beneficial for the farmers. It is also beneficial for the country. It is a win-win situation. Next. Okay. Now the government of India is going with this model. What they are thinking, it may not be possible for one individual farmers to start a business or starting. So what they're thinking this model. They want to go with the taluka-wise approach. They want to go with the farmers producer company approach. They want to go with I'm talking about the fresh product. So kind of way, by this way, farmers will able to sell a product. It's called a grower exporter model. By this way, if you go with the taluka approach, then you go with the farmer producer company approach, and there is it's like a dairy formation. Like a lot of farmers are coming together, start up a collection center, and kind of things. So this is where the government of India is thinking to go ahead. Now this has been adopted by the Goa government. They want to go with this way. Next. Now, as I told you, there are two things. One is the fresh product export, and second is the processed product. This is the sector which is untapped. Just I told you, like jaggery powder. It's a process industry. I told you baby corn, it's a process industry. Moringa powder is a process industry. 75% demand, if you talk about in World Agriculture Expo, it is there in the process. And if you go to the Western country, like any developed country, you take example of any developed country, you will see that out of their total food intake, 70% food intake is processed. They don't go with the chapati or rice. They like a processing part. They call a gherkin. They call a pickle. They will have a gherkin regularly. They will have a mango regularly. They will have a baby corn regularly. They call it pickle. So there is a huge demand. Juice. Dubai is like an ocean for juice market. You take any example, every agriculture product has a potential for the processed foods. Anything, you take anything, it's a demand for them. So government of India is thinking for this model. So for this may not be small processor, may not be eligible, or may not be go, or may not be in terms of resources wise not be able to do. But with this model, small farmers or small processors can come together, and with this also they can able to export. So government of India is thinking both the way, fresh as well as processed, and they also try to make sure whoever is having less resources, how he will be get eligible or participate in the modern trade and commerce. Otherwise, this will entirely entirely go with the middleman. They want to curb that. So this way they will go. Next. Now very important. So whenever we have a time to interact with the Prime Minister office, and whenever we have to interact with the chance with the minister, or any policymaker, we were talking about that how the local things will get promoted. I will tell you one good example. Last week we were having the interaction with the Goa government, especially I was interaction with the Goa government. Now entire Goan economy has been shut down due to two things. One is the mining. Entire mining has been banned in Goa, and second is the tourist. Due to COVID, tourists are not coming. So the entire Goan economy is based on these two sectors. It has been collapsed, right? Collapsed. Now they are not understanding how to make a viable. What should be the revenue source? Now they are shifting their entire economy based to the agriculture. Now they are thinking that since Goa is already developed in terms of tourism, tourist, in terms of Goa is having its own kind of port. Goa itself is having a lot of Western country attraction. They now are thinking that they will go back their own route, and the own route is the agriculture. Now the Goa government is thinking that they will go with a lot of emphasis in agriculture, and they try to make the agriculture into the agriculture export. They want to convert Goan economy from the tourism, from the mining to the agriculture, and that too they want to make the Goa as an agriculture export hub. So local to local. So that is what I'm saying. Whatever we produce, whatever we have in our villages, in our forests, it has a potential to become a global. I will share you one example. When I was doing postdoctoral research, my postdoctoral research was on Western Ghat, especially the forest of Kolhapur district. So when I come to a very interesting case study that since it is coming in Western Ghat, which is very unique and very special, so whatever produced into the Western Ghat, it must be unique. So I take the one example of honey. I took the one example of honey, and I make that if it is in a special Western Ghat, then how it's special. And what I did, we did one experiment. We collect all the big brands which is already there in the honey. I will give you one example. One brand is called Manuka honey, which is coming from New Zealand. It's very highly demanded. His price is 5,000 rupees per kg. 5,000 rupees per kg. And what is the parameter for that price? Honey's quality is based on how much is pollen count is available of 1 milligram of honey. Pollen count. And what is the rule of Government of India? Government of India is saying that unless you have the 5,000 pollen count per milligram, you cannot enter into the market. And the highest paid honey, which is called Manuka honey, is having the pollen count 250,000 pollen count per milligram, which is cost of 5,000 per kg. So can you imagine? When I compare this honey, this laboratory analysis report, the honey which we collected from the Shahuwadi on that entire region for a Changar kind of thing, that honey is having pollen count of 750,000 per milligram. It should be that, no, it is 750,000 is one of the highest reach mineral or medically proved product. So you can imagine what should be his cost. this product has a potential, it go to the international market. It's called a local to local. The only thing is that, are we thinking into that direction? The only thing is that, are we looking agriculture as a business? Are we looking from the mindset that now, as of now, we are also thinking that agriculture is only in terms of production. It's not like that. Agriculture has gone much beyond that. It is a total industry, and it is the industry of so many industries. It is not, sugar is not only with agriculture. No, it has a constitution of so many industries. Every product has a separate industry. So every product has a potential for startups. And especially talk of the Western Maharashtra, everything is available. You name it, that thing is available in Western Maharashtra. So that's why I'm saying the huge potential is available. And along with that, if you want to start a startup, there are so many other private institutions are also helping you. Like one institution, private institution called Catch Me Younger. No, I would like to request you go to their website. They are also trying to help who are coming the new startups. So my entire sum up is that there are great opportunities, especially when the government of India wants to make a Atmanirbhar Bharat. They also realize that without the agriculture industry, without Atmanirbhar and agriculture, Bharat cannot be Atmanirbhar. 70% population of your country is dependent on agriculture. You cannot isolate them. You cannot become a super economic power without advanced contribution. I'm not talking about contribution. Highly contribution from that sector. Otherwise, you will not go anywhere. That's why government of India is trying to make a structural changes in entire agriculture economy. And one of the structural changes is putting a lot of emphasis on agriculture export, agriculture startups. So this is a message. Not so earlier the farmers are uneducated. Earlier farmers generation are not educated. They may not having much knowledge, but the next generation of the farmers, they are educated. They have the degrees in universities. They have degrees in various institutions. So for them it's a big boost. For them it's a big opportunity. They can go, instead of doing any corporate job in any big cities, they can go back in their own villages. Based on the village, they can start their own enterprises. And I have given them a lot of examples that already there are successful entrepreneurs based on their own villages and based on very minimum resources. And the rest of the things taken care by the government of India. You only have to go with that, with that approach. So, in a nutshell, I would conclude like that. It is a great opportunity in this sector, and Western Maharashtra is blessed with such kind of things. So we people from Western Maharashtra should come forward and try to use the maximum benefit of it. Next. Okay. Thank you, sir. This is from my side. Yes, sir.
Now I think it's time for question and answer session. If any delegates have any question in their mind, I request them to please unmute your mic and ask the question directly to Dr. Parshuna Patil.
Hello. Yeah, I'm Dr. Kishore Kumar.
Yes, sir.
Please restrict the questions only for
Yes, sir.
agriculture export and not general agriculture.
Hello, I'm Dr. Kishore Kumar.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you are from being advisor to the APEDA. I would like to know that is APEDA is conducting any skill development sessions for young people in terms of quality testing for agri products.
They do, sir. Not only APEDA. APEDA is just one body who are dealing with export promotion. But as a Minister of Commerce, they actively, even if you go to right now, there are a lot of things are going. You go to FIO site, FIEO. The mandate of the APEDA is not having any training kind of session, but if you go to the FIO, which is also the body of government of India, they have regular training sessions, regularly, how to do export. Their motto is only to how to do export. So you can have a lot of information from their side, and APEDA is also conducting a lot of conferences, a lot of sessions, especially in agriculture. Yes, this mechanism is available, sir. And it is not only APEDA, all the export promotion policies. You go to the coconut, you go to that is what I'm saying, sir. Every product as an industry. It's an industry. So we need a separate session on every product. Then and there we can we were able to do justice in this sector. So
My question is,
it is
my question is whether young people can make career in quality testing of agri products.
yes, sir. It's a big field. You can do, and APEDA is also if you want to put up any testing lab, Ministry of Food Processing is giving a lot of grants, sir. Almost 40% grant is given by the Ministry of Food Processing if you want to have a own private lab where you can test it. It's a separate rules and regulations are there, but you can do. Absolutely, you can. Food testing is a big thing, sir. And I can give you one example. If you go with the Pune, NAPRI, it's a National Agricultural Food Processing Analysis, something like that. They go. So if you need more information, very close, you can go, and it's a government, it's established by the Ministry of, it has been established by the Maratha Chamber of Commerce with the help of Ministry of Food Processing. So it's, this model is already there, sir. And there are opportunities. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the answers. Any more questions? We can take one or two more questions.
Sir, there are questions in chat box also.
Okay, fine. I'll check. Are there any export promotion scheme for individual entrepreneurs who cannot be a part of farmer producer companies?
You need not become a farmer producer company. Is just one instrument which is developed by the government of India that the farmers can come together and do business. But export is always an independent business. So you don't get confused with the farmer producer company and these other things. Yes, as an individual exporter, as a self proprietorship concern, or as a partnership, or as a public limited company, you can do business anything. And these schemes are available for everyone. Everyone. It is not like that it's only available for the farmer producer company. No. Even farmer producer company are not taking the benefit of it. Actual benefits are taken by the private player only, sir. And all the exporters are the private player only, sir. So it is not like that. It is available for everyone. Yes.
Okay. Any more questions? Please go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Sir, we have recently formed a smart city farmer producer company in Satara. We are looking for buyers, means how to find buyers for ginger, turmeric, soybean and soybean husk. And especially one more addition to question to this is there a potential for soybean husk which is right now wasted or burned by the farmers, and is there potential for soybean husk in for an export?
Yes, sir. For the soybean itself, India is a big market because we have a very large poultry industry. So cattle feed is a big question for India. So we almost know 50-60% import the cattle feed from outside the world. So I'm not sure about whether the market is available for outside India for the soybean husk, but I'm 100% sure it is a big market available for soybean husk in India as a cattle feed, because India is one of the largest poultry sector we are having. It is available in India. I'm not sure. I will check whether it is available or not. And second thing, as the buyer is concerned, there is a systematic process to get the buyer, because you have to have a very good buyer. That's why all the promotion bodies are sitting. Their work is only that they have to fill the gap between the buyer and exporter. So what you have to do, sir, you have to be a member of one of the export promotion bodies. And once you become the member, they will regularly update you. Where is the market available? They regularly have a buyer-seller meet. They will have exchange between export and buyer. So that way you can have a separate independent consultant who is having very strong knowledge about the entire international market. That way you can find a buyer. There is no any hard and fast or fixed rule to get the buyer. But normally these are the way by which you can have a buyer. It's normally about networking only. Export business, getting buyer is all about personal contact and network and interview. That's why the individual farmers are not able to do. That's why the government of India is trying to bridge the gap between this through this export. So by this you can have a buyer, sir.
Can I have word with the I'm BR City. Can I have a word with you?
Yes, yes.
Thank you for inviting me to Attend. Very much educated now. I'm BR City from Abu Dhabi, Bangalore. We had a very good discussion about the different farms. So I'm planning for a course in Bangalore. It's also required for the complete food supply chain. And also, what all the projects you said, I'm very keen to develop. I keep in touch with you. It's just a sort of introduction, and thank you for the invite today. Thank you. Very good. More educated. Thank
This cold storage, I would like to add one thing here. Recently, Government of India has come up with the Atmanirbhar Bharat in agriculture. So, what they have done into that, there were no due reforms due for last 70 years, because of which we are not going high potential, or we are not deploying. What was the reform? They did the Essential Commodities Act. What was they doing? Essential Commodities? Essential Commodity Act putting a restriction on farmers that they have to sell the products only to the farmer, only to the registered buyers, traders into the market committee or market setup. Now because of which the farmers are not getting their full prices, good prices. Now the Government of India put the restriction. Now farmers can sell their product anywhere and everywhere at any price. Along with that, there was condition that farmers store or any private body cannot store any product or in form of storage, because there was a restriction. Now the restriction has been put down. The restriction has been restricted. Now what they can do? Now anyone, any farmer, any private body can store as much as he can. So whenever it is off season, they can store, or whenever there is good price is off season, they can come to the market, by which farmers can. So this is one of the sector where there is a big opportunity as a startup is a concern.
Yes.
Agriculture storage export startup. In this sector also there are big opportunity.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, may I request the faculty of KBPME, sir, Madam Preeti Sri, to propose a vote of thanks. Over to Madam Preeti Sri.
Good afternoon to all of you. I am Mrs. Preeti Sri Subramanya. It's my great pleasure to express vote of thanks for today's national webinar. First of all, I want to give heartily thanks to the expert speaker of today's webinar, Dr. Parshram Patil sir, for sharing his valuable time and beneficial information with us. Sir, thanks a lot. You have covered almost all aspects regarding the topic. On the behalf of Frayat Shikshan Sanstha and KBPI MSR, bundle of thanks to Dr. S.S. Mahajan sir, HOD, Department of Commerce and Management, Shivaji University, Kolhapur, for organizing this national webinar. Lots of thanks to Dr. S.S. Bhola sir, HOD of Management in KBPI MSR, for hosting today's webinar. Many thanks to Dr. B.H. Sawant sir, Director of KBPI MSR, for his guidance and help in organizing today's webinar. And lastly, lots of thanks to all the delegates for their presence in today's webinar. Thanks a lot to all of you.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you for your vote of thanks. And with the permission of Chair,
Thanks, sir.
with the permission of the guest, Dr. Parshram Patil, with the permission of Honorable Director Dr. B.S. Samant, Professor Dr. S.S. Mahajan, now I take this opportunity to declare the one-day webinar on agricultural export startups in Western Maharashtra is over, and now officially we are logging off. Thank you everyone for your
Thank you, sir.